Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Lamy 2000. I've had this pen for quite a while. It's one of the first nicer pens that I purchased. This is a fine point. It's a 14 karat gold nib. Has this brushed stainless steel section here with these little nibs that helps the cap snap into place. And it has a nice ink window. It's a little hard to see, but it's just good enough for you to see how much ink you have. And this is a piston filler, and it's a very seamless design there. It's very hard to see where you actually turn it, but it is, the point is about right there. I can feel it with my nail, but it's very hard to see, which is a testament to the design, I think. It's just a very seamless, very classy design. There's the end finial with just a little round metal point there and nothing at the top finial. And it just says Lamy right there at the top of the clips. Very functional. And there are a ton of videos on the Lamy 2000, various review videos of it. So I can't really add too much about the fountain pen itself, but I do have a couple additions here that may help you if you're on the fence about the Lamy 2000. So as far as I'll talk about the case. The case is pretty simple. Just a very minimalist type of a design. Just has your instructions, place for your pen. There's a nice rubbery feel to it. And so I also have the ballpoint here, which is this black one here. And the case is pretty much the same, except for you don't have the nice rubbery feel, but you just have Lamy design, made in Germany. And some more. But that's pretty much it as far as the case. And so for the rollerball, the ballpoint, the top finial is different. So you can, if you're going to carry these together in your case, you can actually tell by looking at the top finial which one is which. Otherwise, you really couldn't tell, because the top of the clip both has Lamy right here, has Lamy here. And they both have, like for the ballpoint, this is where you put in your refill. Whereas with the fountain pen, this knob here is where you actually go to use the piston filler to add your ink. So they both have that. There is a bit of a weight difference, but I'll put the weights on the screen. This one is considerably heavier than both of them. So more about the ballpoint. It still has these little steel nubs here to help the cap seal tight. Then you have your brushed stainless section there. It all feels comfortable to me, not slippery. And then there's just your ballpoint. And compare this to the fountain pen. This is how they look. Fountain pen, ballpoint. And they are pretty much the same height. The ballpoint may be just a little tad bit shorter, but it's barely noticeable. And of course the ballpoint doesn't have an ink window. But there they are, side by side. Like twins. Yeah, and so the only way I can tell is to look at the top of the cap. They also have a pencil, mechanical pencil. I think they have a 0.5 and a 0.7, but I'm pretty set as far as my mechanical pencil, so I wasn't really interested in getting that. These are both Microlon, made of the same material, and they feel pretty much the same. same quality. So in this one, this is a recent purchase. This is a stainless steel version of the 2000 fountain pen. It's pretty heavy. It's also pretty slick. Not that comfortable to write with, because if you have any kind of condensation or sweat on your hands, it's going to get a little slippery. And it's a little on the heavy side as well. There's the top finial. It doesn't have Lamy here. Instead, it has Lamy on the back here. See that? And at the end, like the others, it has like a little metal insert. There at the end finial. And you can see the seam where the piston knob turns here a little bit better. You see that there? It's a little, you can see that a little bit better. But still has the same minimalist, classy design. Doesn't really draw too much attention to itself. No ink window with this one. And this is a extra fine 14 karat. So that's pretty much it as far as the actual design of the pen. They are pretty much all the same as far as length. And again, I'll put all the dimensions and everything on the screen for you, probably at the end of the video. So let's start with some writing samples. And zoom in here. So here, the ink that I used in the fountain pen, I used Monteverde Raven Noir. It's just a basic black. So here we have the Lamy 2000 fountain pen. Very smooth, but not glassy smooth, just the perfect amount of smooth. And this is a fine 14 karat. Ink, as I said, is Monteverde Raven Noir. So there's no flex or anything to these. Just a basic, firm 14 karat nib. It's a pretty wet writer. So compare this to the Ballpoint. We have Lamy 2000. Ballpoint, I'm not sure they call it Ballpoint or Rollerball. But the ink in here is the Lamy M63 refill. And it's just black. It does come in multiple colors, but these refills are a little on the pricey side. They're between $4 and $5. But they're just very smooth, and it's a very wet writer, but it dries pretty fast. So I can show you a comparison as far as how fast it dries. So that's the Ballpoint, and here's the fountain pen. So I'm going to give it a second or two. You can just see how much wetter the fountain pen is. But when you're writing with it, the Ballpoint actually feels a lot wetter. Just very sleek and very smooth. Very feels like gel pen ink. But when I was looking for the refills, it didn't really say what this ink was made of. But very good for lefties. See, it's already dry. So very, very good for lefties. So We'll start next with the stainless steel. So this is the Lamy 2000. And it's a fountain pen. And the nib in here is extra fine, 14 karat. And the ink in here is Robert Oster, Cities of America. And this is Miami. Again, very firm. Just with this ink, it shows you quite a bit of shading, but really no line weight variation or anything. It's also a wet writer. And what I've noticed is with these fountain pens, and as well with the ballpoint, there's no hard starts or skipping or anything like that. And so for these last two ink swatches, a couple of alternatives that you may want to consider if you don't want to spend this much for a pen. The ballpoint was fairly reasonable, it's only $60. The Lamy 2000, I think this retails for close to $200. I was able to get this on eBay for $136. This one is quite a bit more expensive. I think when they come in these different trims, they get kind of a premium. So this was $250. This is the Lamy LX, Lamy Studio LX. So this is their blacked out version. This is also a very nice alternative. It is a cartridge converter filler as opposed to a piston filler, but it still holds a good amount of ink. This version is a fine stainless steel. I get my camera to focus, but it is a fine stainless steel. So this is the Lamy Studio LX. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Lamy Studio LX, and this is just a fine steel Lamy nib, but it handles this sheening ink very well. And the ink in here is Diamond Serendipity, and this is from Inkvent 2022. So again, we have no flex or anything, just a nice smooth wet writer. And it does handle this focus camera. It does handle this this sheeny ink very well. As you can see, there is a little skip here, but the ink, it's a pretty viscous ink with a lot of sheen. So, but once it starts, it's pretty nice. And there's the sheen on the ink. And lastly, there's another alternative, and this is the Jinhao 80. It really doesn't feel anything like the Macrolon here. You can definitely tell that it's a different material. Just plastic with maybe some little texture to it. But it's also a decent alternative. I upgraded this one with a Lamy fine nib, or extra fine. And I thought it would well with all the black trim on this. So I put the black Lamy extra fine nib. It's very hard to focus this camera, but there's a Lamy extra fine. And so this is the Jinhao 80. And this is also a cartridge filler pen. cartridge and converter filler pen. So this is a Jinhao 80, and this has an extra fine Lamy steel nib. And ink in here. It's Robert Oster. And this is Muddy Water. Just a nice shading ink. Doesn't really have any sheen to it. A little bit of red here, but it's mostly just a nice shader. And it's a firm nib. So as far as prices, again, the black fountain pen was $136 on Amazon. The Ballpoint was $60 on Amazon. This was the stainless steel was $250 on eBay. The LX was about $70 on Amazon, and this Jinhao 80 I got two for $14, I think. And then I think I paid about $25 for the nib. But the regular Jinhao nibs, they're just as good. I have no issues with those. So one thing about before I go, the Ballpoint. So if you want to use the regular gel inks in here, you can. You just have to do a bit of tweaking. So the Lamy M63, and again I said these are between $4 and $5 a piece. I bought these. These are Parker gel pen knockoffs, Unibeam. So I got 12 of these for $11, so considerably cheaper. So you can also use the gel, the G2 gel refills. You can use those. You just need to, like this, you need to adjust them a little bit. You need to tweak them a little bit. And so you can see how much longer the Lamy refill is. So you can either put something behind here. Some people put tissue. I just took this piece of an old cartridge. I think it was an old cross cartridge, just so it would squeeze in here and kind of stop right there. And you can use any kind of refill. Lamy 2000. And again, this is just a knockoff Parker gel ink refill. So if you're interested in the Lamy 2000 Ballpoint, and you're maybe kind of hesitant about the refills because they cost so much, I'm assuming that this is going to last pretty well, a long time. It's pretty long, so I don't doubt that it's going to last a while. But it's nice to have options. So just know that if you do want to use the Poly G2 or any other Parker refill, you just have to make some room down here because these are so long. But that's all I had about the Lamy 2000. The OG Lamy 2000 has been a nice pen. There are a lot of pens that I tend to pick up as opposed to this one, but it's really nothing against the pen itself. It's not always inspiring for me to write with, and that's probably because I have just plain old black ink in it. I think if I switched up the ink, I'd be more apt to write with it more. This one, I can already see that it's not going to like being in my case. I've already scuffed it up there, so I probably won't put that in my case with my other pens. And again, the Ballpoint is a nice option if you like ballpoints. Lamy Studio, excellent choice as well. And the Jinhao 80, although it's a knockoff, it's a very nice knock-around pen, with or without the Lamy nib on it. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch my video, and I will catch you next time. Everyone take care.